Hey friends, it's Robert LaRoche here, coming to you from Austin, Texas. Today I'm going to be answering questions from our friend Martina from the Kölner News Journal. It's a publication in Cologne, Germany, and she sent me some questions. Let's get started. Robert, your last album was with The Size, Tearing My Heart Again, a 5-song EP. Is this an indie album? Well, I happen to have it right here. Yes, it is. This is an independent release on OMAD Records out of New York City. Our dear friend John D. Nicola. We've been working, we being The Size, have been working with John for decades. And we recorded the first 3 or 4 days of this year, 2020, in upstate New York, and at Silver Spring Studio. It was freezing cold, and but it was warm in the control room, and we knocked out 5 brand new songs. Tommy Pluta, Matthew Cullen, Tom Borowski, my longtime partners in The Size, and it was released in April, and it's gotten good reviews, and check it out if you can. The Size started in, 1982. We released our first record, a vinyl 45. We're from Holyoke, Massachusetts, my hometown, and almost 40 years now in existence. We're more of a recording band these days. We're scattered around the country. I'm here in Austin, Texas. Matthew's out in the Midwest, and but we still play occasionally live, once a year, once every couple of years, and it's a fun project. So check out The Size, Tearing My Heart Again, one more time. There you go. Since 1982. Okay, let's move along here. Question number 2: how difficult is it to survive as a musician in the times of coronavirus? Well, I guess it's the same for musicians as anybody else. Work is scarce. The clubs are closed here in Austin, as I'm sure they are everywhere else. So there's no live gigs right now. So that has definitely been a financial challenge. However, there is some silver lining. It's during this time of quarantine, it's been a good opportunity for songwriting, for focusing on that. And without new songs, can't release new records. So songwriting is the key. And right now I'm working on several projects. My main 3 projects that I do, still writing songs for The Size, and my buddy Tommy Pluta is working on a solo record at the moment. We're collaborating on a new song, writing new material with Patricia Vonne, who I've been working with since 1998. Been her guitar player and co-writer for many years, so we're working on some new material. And my own project, this is my latest release, Robert LaRoche, 1,000 Shades. There you go. That came out only a year ago, came out last year. And so those are the 3 projects that I'm writing for simultaneously. So, you know, we survive just like anybody else. Stay safe, wear a mask, social distance, but rather than get down in the dumps, we're trying to use this time right now to be creative. So that's what's going on there. Let's see, question number 3 from the Kölner News Journal. What are your tour plans for next year for your solo music? Next year being 2021. I don't think I'm going to be touring next year overseas with my acoustic trio. I work with a couple of wonderful classical musicians, Mr. John Diven on contrabass, concert bass, and Junie Huang, fantastic violinist, And right now, it looks like in the fall of next year, 2021, I'm going to be on tour with Patricia Vonne. It's been a long-time gig of mine for over 20 years, and we're scheduled at the moment to be in Germany. We have a show or two in the Netherlands. We're talking about Switzerland and maybe Austria. So I think that depending on what's happening with COVID and providing it safe to tour, I'll be with Patricia next fall in Europe. But I do plan on going back overseas with my acoustic trio. It's a cool show. It's not a rock and roll show, actually. You can find videos, Robert LaRoche, on YouTube. It's myself on acoustic guitar and of course singing, doing my songs with an orchestral feel, with the concert bass and the violinist. So I guess we're maybe looking at, gosh, it seems so far away, but I guess the nearest that would be the spring of 2023, if I'm still around, plan to be. And we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. It all depends on COVID. So let's see. What are the next questions here? Having some strong espresso. Let's see. Are there any further collaborations with Patricia Vonne? Well, yes, there is. I just kind of answered that we're going to be on tour next year together. That's the plan. With our 4-piece rock and roll band in Europe, and her and I are co-writing some new songs at the moment. So the answer to that is yes, we are working together. Question number 4, or maybe it's number 5. Let's see. Who were your role models when you started your music career? Let's see. You know, I grew up in Holyoke, Massachusetts. Western Massachusetts. There was a local band called the Cardiac Kids, who were a big influence on me. It was actually my Little League baseball coach, Kevin O'Hare, who was a wonderful guy, great guy. He's no longer with us. And they were a big influence on me because I knew them personally, and they were playing in clubs, and I used to see them at the high school dances when I was 15 and 16 years old. So just to see somebody I actually knew performing live, and they performed original material, they were fantastic. And so they were a big influence. There was another band called the Elevators. They were from the neighboring town of Northampton, Massachusetts. And they were on Arista Records, and they were a big influence. I think I used to have a fake ID which said I was 25, which was ridiculous. It was 18 at the time. So we used to see them perform at a club in Hadley, Massachusetts called Hangar 1, which is no longer there. It was an old airplane hangar. And they were amazing. They were fantastic live. They were very edgy, power pop, new wave, I guess at the time. This would have been 1980. So they were also a big influence on me. Those are the tangible ones because they were in the same proximity of where I grew up in Holyoke. But, you know, also a big influence, I have 2 older sisters and an older brother, constantly playing vinyl. So, you know, I heard the Beatles and the Stones and all the British Invasion stuff and every other kind of pop music. I sort of absorbed that like a sponge. Big fan of early American rock and roll, Chuck Berry, Eddie Cochran, Buddy Holly, and so that was a big influence on me as well. And you know, I was born in '63, so the radio when I was a young kid in the late '60s and early '70s was quite good. AM radio was WHYN in Holyoke, or I guess they were out of Springfield, but that was incredible too. The top 40 at the time, you could hear, you know, Sly and the Family Stone and the Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan in the same, you know, same little 15-minute block. So radio at that time had a big influence on me as well. So let's move along here. Martina, thanks again for sending me these questions. Who would you like to work with? You know, I'm working with the people that I want to work with. I don't entertain any fantasies of, you know, working with any famous people. The three projects I'm doing, The Size, Robert LaRoche solo, Patricia Vonne, that is for me the cream of the crop. You know, I'm very, very happy working with them. And there's more than enough work there to keep me busy as a songwriter, as a guitar player and a singer. So I'm not sure if that's the answer you're looking for, but that's an honest answer. I don't entertain any fantasies of, I want to work with so-and-so in this band. In this band, the people that I'm working with are right where I want to be. So let's see. Next question. You started your career very early, that's for sure, and have come very far. Well, that's questionable. I've come a ways, but that's very nice of you to say. What is your tip for beginners in showbiz? Wow. Well, I did start young. I was 15 years old when I started performing professionally with my good friend Mike Jakowski from Holyoke, Mass. Fantastic singer, great guy. I spoke to him not too long ago. And when we were real young, we were doing talent shows and fairs, weddings. We did a lot of weddings. We sang in a lot of churches. I always had the best acoustics when you were back in the where the organist was in the choir. So that was my earliest sort of professional paying gigs. I was 15, and we did that for a couple of years. Then I think I was like 17 years old when The Size formed. The area where I grew up in Western Massachusetts had a lot of colleges and a lot of gigs. There was a lot of places to play, and we were hardworking. You know, go and play 2-3 sets a night, you know, at a frat house, standing in, you know, an inch or two of beer. Crazy times, but we learned our chops, and equally as important, we learned the value of hard work. And if there's any advice I can give to you know, to youngsters starting out in the business, be professional. You know, I personally made a lot of mistakes. Try not to drink too much, stay away from hard drugs, all of which like I say, I made a lot of mistakes in my time, but you know, try and be professional, start on time. If you're playing a club and there's 10 people, you know, play as if there's 10,000, play as if there's 100, or, you know, whatever number you can imagine. Whenever you're in a bar or in a venue, you know, it's you, the doorman, the sound man, the bartender. You guys are a team, you know, for that night. So be positive, tip well, always tip your bartenders and servers. I don't know if that applies so much for Germany, but here over in the States, that's important. You know, make the people at the club part of the team, and equally as important, make them want you back again. And if you only have 10 people, well, maybe the next time you'll have 25, the next time 50, and write your own songs, write your own material. Yeah, of course, I understand. It's difficult sometimes. The club owners say, oh, well, we want you to play songs people know. Well, okay, that's fine. The Size certainly did that in the old days. If you look at an old set list, we were doing Ramones and, you know, Rolling Stones and stuff like that. But we also made sure we got in some of our original material. And as I mentioned earlier, we had a vinyl 45 that we could sell. And so concentrate on original material. Work hard, rehearse. You don't ever want to be on the bandstand talking to your bandmates in between songs. What song am I going to play? You know, have a set list. Don't leave a lot of dead air in between songs. Just hammer it, one song after another, and segue the material. And yeah, be positive. Remain positive. Keep your hopes high and your expectations low. I guess would be the best advice. So we're at the last question, I believe. Let's see. This is question number 7 or 8. I've lost count. Where do you get your inspiration? I guess we're talking about songwriting here. So my songs are just true stories. So the inspiration that I get. Hey, y'all. Hi. My neighbors are coming out. Lovely people. Just doing an interview with Germany.
Oh, really?
Need someone who speaks German?
Das ist sehr gut, mein Freund. Auf Wiedersehen. Tschüss. So where do you get your inspiration? So, you know, my songs are true stories. I write from real life experience, and that's what inspires me. You know, generally speaking, I hear a melody in my head. I'm not unique in that respect. I've talked to a lot of songwriters over the years, and you'll get a melody in your head. You know, the notes, there's only 12 notes, folks. So, and then, you know, it kind of replays itself over and over in your mind. It does for me, and then eventually it's like, drives me crazy. I have to pick up the guitar and find the chords that match the melody. And I don't read music, and I don't know why I have the ability to find the chords, but I do. And I find the chords that match the melody in my head, and try to flush out a song. And that's always been my formula since, gosh, many, many years. Decades, 40 years I've been writing songs. And lastly, for me, generally speaking, lastly is the lyrics. And, you know, like I said, I try and write from true life experience, something that I can relate to, and hopefully that translates to the listener. So I think we've covered it all. I think we've covered all the questions today. Martina, thank you for submitting them to me. Thank you for your interest. You can check out robertlarochemusic.com. That's my website. And I hope to see you in schön Deutschland next year, God willing, 2021. I'll be on tour with Patricia Vonne, and I hope to be back in Germany with my acoustic trio in 2023. Until then, stay safe. All the best. Auf Wiedersehen.